Jim Brogan. I was born here. I've been here all my life. I have 2 degrees from the University of Tennessee. So we do wealth management and retirement planning. So what does that really mean? Anything in your life that could impact your finances, whether it's investing money, whether it's how to structure income, if we can optimize our taxes, so we serve people. And that's part of our mission statement. We serve people.
Well, good morning. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Just for you, Lee, I waited till the last second because I see you're first on the chat this morning. So let's throw Mr. Ed the Camel up there. Of course, we got Ed Rupp coming up in just a few minutes because we can't get by on a Wednesday without Ed Rupp, right? That's just the way it works. Got 2 little puppy dogs sleeping over there in the chair over on the other side of my monitors. And listen, yes, it was a stormy day yesterday. Yes, we saw some solid downpours. I tell you what, we had a lightning strike like right next to my house, and it just shook everything. It scared everybody to death. The kids came running outside like, whoa! They were little bit on the nervous side. It was pretty active. Hopefully you got a little bit of rain. I know a lot of folks on social media said, I just didn't get a whole lot of rain. It was kind of a feast or famine, but hopefully by the end of the day, you picked up some sort of rainfall. Let me know in the chat if you did not get any rain at all. I don't know about your yard, but my yard just went, soaked it right up because the yard was a little bit on the brown side. Hey, by the way, we've got some patchy dense fog showing up here this morning, so do travel safely. I'll show you what it looks like on the maps here in a second, but of course, we'll take you back outside and I'll show you what it looks like from downtown Clinton and Anderson County. You can kind of see on the far right-hand side of the screen a little bit of fog, but what a beautiful sunrise taking shape here this morning. And speaking of which, got a cool little time lapse I want to share with you anyways from Fox Road Marina. And this is one of those storms that blasted its way through West Knoxville. Take a look. All right, so we started the morning off with a few clouds, and then we saw some sunshine. It really turned out to be a pretty decent day. There are those clouds here yesterday morning. We'll see the clouds break up. Cumulus clouds start to build. Here comes the convection, a few boaters out there. And then watch a couple of these storms. They were pretty quick, especially, of course, when you're time-lapse. There's one. Whoop. Here comes the convection off of the distance. And then here comes another storm. Woo, right there. That was a good one for sure. That dropped a lot of rain in a very short amount of time. And out there this morning, actually, we do, like I mentioned, have some patchy, dense fog. Here's a live look. We'll take it back to, let's go to Strawberry Plains Pike anyways. And so some of you are going to have to contend with the fog. So we'll talk more about that here in a second. Let's keep in check. You know, the models have been trending a little bit on the cooler side for last, 3 days or so, 2 or 3, 4 days. So yesterday I was forecasting 87. We hit 90. And not a single model. And I was actually the warmest. National Weather Service had 88. GFS Dam had 85 to about 85, 86. So I was still even trending a little bit above the models, knowing that they've been trending on the cooler side. So today I've bumped it up just a couple of degrees from what the models are indicating. So we'll see how it all plays out. But I will say that drier air is starting to settle its way on in. So as you step outside this morning, it actually has... It's probably negligible, really, but I think, and it's all perception, right? We all perceive it differently. I think it actually has a little bit of a better feel to the air this morning than what it did over the last couple of days. Dew points are still elevated, but not as high as they were yesterday. And it actually is technically cooler than what we were yesterday morning. So there's the cold front sliding off to our southeast. A lot of low-level moisture thanks to the rain that we saw yesterday, and so some patchy, dense fog. So if you're joining us in a fogged area, snap a photo, throw it on the chat, or not the chat because I can't see it, but throw it on Witcher's Pictures with the East Tennessee Weather app, or join me on social media and throw it on there as well. We'll try to share as many as we possibly can, but you know, you might not need to give yourself just a little extra time here this morning. Temperature-wise, not bad. We're in the 60s and the 70s, so that's pretty average for this time of year, but believe it or not, we are trending a few degrees cooler this morning than yesterday. And that's going to be the story again tomorrow morning. We may drop a couple more degrees, just a couple. It's not a lot. It's a quote-unquote cold front, right? That's what it's named. That's technically a cold front. And it doesn't always mean colder air. It just means drier air, a different air mass. That's all fronts mean, is just a different air mass moving on through. Warm fronts, cold fronts. Dew points are in the 60s and 70s right now. They should drop a little bit more throughout the day today, and that should make for a rather a more pleasant day, if you will. So 60s and 70s now, going to about 81 degrees by lunchtime. That's not bad, really, to be honest with you. We'll have some sunshine. Now, the fog, if you have a lot of fog in your area, if just kind of keep us in check, sun comes up, starts to burn off the fog, so the fog starts to lift. You'll become overcast. You're like, come on, where's the sunshine? Then the air starts to mix out. The fog burns off. We'll see some sunshine, but I think we're going to have some fair weather cumulus clouds, although I think the cloud deck will just be a little bit higher today. Maybe about 6 or 7, 8,000 feet rather than about 5,000 feet. But we will have some fair weather cumulus clouds kind of drifting on in with a northwesterly flow, by the way. And that's that thanks to the cold front sliding off to our southeast and high pressure building in from the west. And that gives us a northerly flow, which ushers in the slightly drier air. All right, so heat index values today, yeah, the valley for the most part. You add a couple of degrees on top of those air temperatures in the shade. In the shade, we measure everything in the shade. Apparent temperature in the sunlight, you're going to add a good solid, 5, 10, 15 degrees on top of the air temperature, especially during peak heating. So, of course, we measure everything in the shade to keep it constant, but if you're in the direct sunlight, just know it's going to be feeling much, much hotter. So it is going to be still a hot and muggy day. It is July 2nd by all means, right? For the evening rush hour, no storms today. Beautiful weather on the way. Wait, can I say that again? No storms today. Beautiful sunshine, a few fair weather cumulus clouds, and a nice, comfortable, but still warm evening with temperatures dropping into the upper 70s by 10 o'clock here tonight. All right, just nitpicking the forecast, picking up on the fog here this morning. The Futurecast has that. Sunshine for the lunch hour. Fair weather clouds throughout the afternoon drifting in the northwesterly sky. So, Lee, if you're heading off to the golf course today, although you said you were working, but if anybody's heading off to the golf courses or has any sort of outdoor plans, it really should turn out to be a nice day. Here's our ridge of high pressure. It's building on in from the Great Plains and the West Coast. Our trough moves its way on out. This ridge of high pressure is going to help to bring us more heat. Notice this little area of low pressure right there in the bottom, just kind of right above where it says the East Tennessee Weather app at the bottom of the screen. There's a little low, little tropical low. National Hurricane Center is watching this. I'm going to highlight that. I posted on social media yesterday. Let's talk heat index trend for a second, because with lower humidity, we don't have the extreme heat index values. But dew points start to climb, heat index start to climb. Is it going to be a hot 4th of July weekend? Absolutely. Something like that. Because dew points start to climb, but not bad considering. And it looks like it's going to be mostly rain-free for the entire weekend. But keep in mind, Sunburn City, like I said yesterday, UV index is going to be on the high side. So if you're heading off to the pools, barbecues, events outdoors, heading off to festival on the 4th in downtown at World's Fair Park, hitting the lakes, lather up in sunscreen and drink plenty of water. Dew points climbing to the low 70s by next Sunday, Monday, Tuesday timeframe. And that's going to increase our chances for rain. Not a ton so far, but how about this solid rain-free stretch, especially for folks across the Cumberland Plateau and the mountains that have seen a lot of rain? Some of you are like, wait. My grass is still brown. It's still dry. I didn't barely pick up a drop of water yesterday. So this is not necessarily great news for some of us. But a good solid dosing of rain for some. Ground soaks it up. Let's dry out. The only reason why, especially as we get into a little bit of a drier pattern here that we've been in, the only reason why I say this is great news, because it's a holiday weekend. We don't want weather. We don't want bad weather, stormy weather, rainy conditions, cloudier skies. We want sunshine. It's the 4th of July, for crying out loud. And, a lot of years we do have Mother Nature fireworks. But this year, it looks like we're not going to have Mother Nature fireworks. And thanks to the rain and more, we're not in a drought or anything like that. There's not really a major concern for fires when it comes to fireworks. All right, let's track the tropics for a second. Any travelers heading out into Florida? I posted this on social media. People are like, oh, come on, Witcher. I know, sorry, it is hurricane season by all means. And realize the peak of hurricane season isn't until September 11th. It's only July 2nd. We've got a long ways to go. But the National Hurricane Center is keeping an eye on this one. They've bumped it up from a 30% probability to becoming our next tropical system to a 40% now, right along Florida and southeastern coastline. So let me show you the rainfall forecast from now through the upcoming weekend. If you have travel plans down there, it is going to be rainy. Now let's progress past the weekend because a lot of people are going to be taking vacations. So that little tropical system, that little low is just going to kind of linger down there, and that's going to continue to bring more rain all the way from the Outer Banks of North Carolina down into Florida and the Gulf Coast and much of Florida. So if you're heading off on vacation all next week, this weekend or all next week, down into Florida, South Carolina, listen, I don't think it's going to be an all-day, everyday washout by any stretch, but you are going to have elevated rain chances for sure. All right, here's your 7-day forecast. A nice, solid, dry weather stretch on the way. Again, I can't stress enough, just because it's the holiday weekend, I think it's nice. And hopefully you concur that we have a nice, dry pattern setting up for the holiday weekend, because I don't know about you, but, I want to be on the lakes. I want to be on the boats. We're going to be heading out the boat on the 4th of July with my good friend Heather Wallaga. How about that? Yes, I'm still friends with those people over at the old TV station. Why would I not be? They're like some of my best friends. All right, I digress. You know what time it is. It's Wednesday. It's hump day, my friends. Let's say good morning to Ed Rupp, shall we?
Wait for him. Wait for him. Bam! Now we slide all the way downhill to the weekend. The kids can get ready for school, and Debbie can take her shower.
Oh, thank goodness for Debbie being able to take her shower. It's been a whole week, Debbie. It's been a whole... Maybe, if I didn't force my kids to take showers, they would go weeks without taking showers. I've got some great photos to share with you, by the way. And if you're new to the platform, so now we've gone through the forecast. We're going to share some photos. We're going to go through national holidays. We're going to go through Witcher's pictures and more photos there. And, of course, if you have any events going on, let me know what's going on. But I wanted to share some cool photos that were sent to me through social media yesterday. So here's one right now, and this one was sent in. I got to get my info here for you. So this one was sent in. This was awesome. I love it. So let's see. This one was sent in by Sherry Letner. Sherry Letner. How cool is that view? And I love like the silos off in the center. I mean, great photo. Isn't that it? Great photo. Great job, Sherry. She had a couple other cool ones. Let's see if we get another couple of ones. Let's see. We got that one. I've got a couple more to share with you. Another great photo from her. Just different perspective, showing some hay bales in there. That was pretty cool. Did you see the double rainbow I posted on social media? How about this one? A lot of folks posted this one. That one was just like, seriously, like HD double rainbow. Like HD, high definition. Isn't that not just the coolest thing ever? But while we had a double rainbow and a giant rainbow, I also had a viewer sent in this. Just a little mini me rainbow. Just a little mini me rainbow. And actually, she said, I've never seen a rainbow so close to the ground. So we talked about it. The sun is just shining perfectly. You can see it's raining out there. And just the way the sun is shining, we got a little tiny rainbow. So not only does she get one pot of gold in her backyard, she gets 2 pots of gold. I asked her if she would share with me, but, well, I don't think she's found the pot of gold yet. All right, I have one more thing to share with you. I'm going to go back to the time lapse for a second because I have to get to a different scene to share with. Tis the season, my friends. Tis the season. So in case you can't celebrate the 4th of July, I'm celebrating early 4th. Where'd they go, babe? Where'd they go? There they are. I mean, she's driving a car through the neighborhood. I love fireworks. Is that not awesome? Great little fireworks show. I have no idea where this is. Is that not awesome? So big shout out for to my wife for give me some UGC, user-generated content, some content to share with you this morning. All right, moving right along. It's 6:17 right now, checking in on those national holidays. And before we do so, I always like to share another live view from some beautiful East Tennessee weather cameras that are all over town. We're getting a lot more coming up here soon, of course. And I apologize that some of these just aren't working online like I'd wanted them to. There are some glitches in the system. So they don't work very well sometimes, but we're constantly working on it, refining it, and really, there's a lot of tech. There's a lot of tech going on with what I do on a daily basis. It all, when I first started doing this, it gave me a much deeper appreciation to all of the engineers that I've worked with over the years at all the TV stations I've worked at. All right, let's talk about those national holidays. We're celebrating birthdays and events today. Anybody born today and some years ago? Arcane says, very foggy and more Maryville this morning. Loving this. I love fog. Fog's cool. Fog is cool. I believe I saw Angela on here again. What's up, Angela? You're like my new BFF. I love it. I love it. Good morning, Joanne. How are you this morning? All right, so today is National Wildland Firefighter Day. Big shout out to those guys. Big, huge, giant shout out to the National Wildland Firefighters. It is an incredibly crazy job. I'll tell you a couple quick stories. One of my very first TV jobs, by the way, actually my very first TV job, I had only been at a TV station for, maybe a month straight out of college. I'd only been at the TV station for maybe a month straight out of college. I'll go back to those here in a second, but I'm telling you a story about Wildland Firefighter Day. So I was really nervous. I was a photographer at the time. I was trying to get my foot in the door as a reporter. I didn't want to do weather. That's a whole nother story. We won't go down that road right now. But here I am 25 years later doing weather, and I tried to get out of it like 7 times. So glad I didn't, because here I am. But anyways, I was a photographer, and there was a big old forest fire, wildfire in our community. I lived in western Colorado in Grand Junction. And there's a big giant forest fire, probably an hour and a half away. So the news station sent me, myself, and a reporter, Kate Godwin, by the way. Big shout out to her. She was awesome, great reporter. Not reporting anymore, I don't believe. Anyways, we get all the way. We start to get halfway there, and I look down at my gas tank. I was like, oh my gosh. My heart sank to my stomach. I was like, oh no. I'm like low on gas. This is not good. So anyway, we get to the fire, we get to the fire, and I'm freaking out. Well, now we get down to where the news media is, and they're like, okay, we're going to take you to the top of this mountain so you can get your video, do your stand-ups, do all the reporting that you need to do. The fire is on the other side of the mountain. You are safe, but you'll be able to get some video and action of these, of the firefighters. They carve out those fire lines, they knock down trees and bushes and really carve out a fire line. So we were up there getting footage. And I was like, I can't drive up there. Everyone's like, why? I was like, I'm out of gas almost. This is not good. And so I was talking to one of the firefighter, like the PIO with the fire department at the time. And I was like, dude, I'm out of gas. I can't drive up there. So we hopped into the one of the other news stations' vehicles, and they took us to the top. Yes, we're competitors, but we were also friends, especially in small TV markets. And not so competitive. And even here, we're not competitive. I mean, listen, we're competitors, but we're not. We're friends. Anyways, we get the video. Literally up there getting video, and all of a sudden they're like, clear on out. Everybody get out of here right now. The fire is coming. The wind shifted. The fire started coming up over the mountainside. While there was a ton of greenery that day, we raced down the mountain. The fire came racing up over the mountainside. Where we stood that day, the very next day was completely gone. Absolutely crazy to see these firefighters, right? Well, let me continue the gas story here real quick. And so we get down to the mountain. Okay, with time to go back to the news station. I'm like, dude, I need gas. We're not gonna make it home. We're in the middle of nowhere. And so I ended up getting to purchase. I was able to purchase. They were okay. We'll let you purchase gas at the gas station in town. Very small town. You're allowed 5 gallons only. Enough to get you to the next gas station because we need this gas here at this gas station for the firefighters. So I was able to make it home. One more quick side note for that. I also was offered a job to be a meteorologist for smoke jumpers. No way, Jose. Couldn't do it. Absolutely not. I love what I do, and I love keeping you all safe, but trying to keep firefighters safe and during a big giant wildfire in California and trying to guide them based on winds and what these no way, too much pressure on me. Too much pressure on me. All right, that was a really long story. I apologize, but thanks for listening. All right, moving right along. It's National Anisette Day. Anisette, I think I'm saying that right. Anisette, and I feel like I'm saying that right. It's a liqueur derived from aniseed. So if you like black licorice, and you're a drinker, maybe you'd like that. Those are the only 2 national holidays we have for the day today. That's all we got. Let's check in on some of those live weather cameras. We'll take you to downtown Gatlinburg. And a nice view. You know, they've got the first, aren't they the ones with the, isn't downtown Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge Gatlinburg, the one with the first, like, 4th of July parade or something like that? Or no, that's Christmas. What do they do? What's the first parade? Anyways, I digress. There should be some great fireworks festivities going on around East Tennessee. So hopefully you get a chance to enjoy it. And we are rain-free this morning. So that's awesome news to pass along as well. All right, let me run through the chat here for a second and see what's going on. Your nephew turns 21 today. Uh-oh, Jacob, the big 2-1. Do you remember your 21-year-old birthday? I won't tell you a story about mine. We'll just keep that one locked and loaded, huh? I actually was the oldest of all my friends. And so none of my friends could go out and hang out with me. But I did go out with my brother and his wife at the time, and a coworker of mine that I worked with in college. And we were able to go out. So we went out the night of my 21st birthday, so I couldn't get in anywhere until midnight. But I was like, I'm going somewhere to show my ID to get in there at midnight, and we did. And it was a lot of fun. So Katrina, if he lives in town, are you going to go celebrate with them? Nice and cool. Aegis, Kentucky. What's up, Sharon? How are you this morning? Ooh, coffee is good. Kid free for 4 days. Nice, Kimberly, and nice to see you on here this morning. Let's see, what else you got? First New Year's parade. That's what it is. First New Year's parade. Thank you, Chris. I knew you'd know. You live in Pigeon Forge. It's Gatlinburg, 1201, July 4th. Yeah, there we go. You'll be watching the fireworks on TV, most likely. Yep. All right. Great stuff this morning. Well, I do appreciate you joining me. If you have photos of any of the weather, of any of the celebrations in and around your area, I'd love for you to share those with me. We'll be posting a lot more on social media, and we got some cool stuff coming our way. But it's 6:24, and I know that you have to get about your day. What's for breakfast? Bacon, eggs, something healthy, a protein shake, maybe nothing. Do you fast? I don't know. Family is sound asleep. My wife had a very busy day yesterday. She is off today. So we're just going to let the family sleep in this morning. Shh, don't make us sleep with me. By the way, have you heard me on B97.5 yet? My new radio partnership. This makes it 19 radio stations and counting that I forecast weather for East Tennessee. Check me out, B97.5, Ashley and Roger in the morning. They're on right now. So on your way to work, crank up some tunes. And have a great day. I do hope you have a great day. I'll be back here tomorrow morning for Wake Up with Witcher, starting off at 6 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock Saturday and Sunday. In the meantime, enjoy the sunshine, the drier weather conditions, the slightly drier humidity today and tomorrow, because it's going to crank back up as we get into the weekend. It's going to be a smoking hot 4th of July, but hopefully I don't think we'll see much in the way of Mother Nature fireworks. Be safe. Be kind to each other. Life is short. I'll see you back here tomorrow, my friends.